Commuting, going to the doctor, changing trains, shopping, taking the kids to school, going to a cafe, visiting a friend, traveling to the gym, picking up the children from nursery. We spend more than 60 minutes a day just moving from place to place, for all sorts of increasingly varied reasons, across spaces that are becoming ever larger and more fragmented. We are by turns pedestrians, drivers, cyclists, bus or subway passengers. Our movements and our journeys, sometimes for pleasure, sometimes unavoidable, weave a social, economic and cultural web and are remodeling the areas we live in. The City on the Move Institute was created in June 2000 by the PSA Peugeot Citroën Group. Its aim is to contribute to the emergence of innovative solutions for urban mobility. It brings together representatives of the corporate and academic worlds, researchers and practitioners from the social, cultural, and voluntary sectors, together with municipalities to work on joint action research projects. Its mission is to develop innovative international initiatives and social, organizational, scientific, technical, and cultural experiments. Its projects promote independent mobility for individuals and groups with particular difficulties, focus on the quality of the places and time frames of movement, contribute to the development of the cultures of urban mobility and civic relations, and reflect environmental constraints and priorities. Through its projects, IVM was the first to show that mobility is a fundamental right. More than that, it is the right that underpins all rights, as it is mobility that makes access to work, health, education, and housing possible. The Mobility for Integration project brought together scientists, politicians, professionals, and associations to share know-how and put into practice new forms of support for mobility. Community vehicle rental schemes, driving license preparation, on-demand transport services, training in understanding the city and reading maps.
Sans voiture, pas de boulot, sans boulot, pas de voiture. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire, qu'est-ce qu'on peut mettre en place pour essayer de répondre à ce souci-là, surtout ce souci pour les gens qui n'ont pas de moyens pour acheter des véhicules. Donc l'idée générale, c'est quoi? C'est grosso modo être un loueur social. Faciliter l'insertion professionnelle par le prêt d'un moyen de locomotion.
With voluntary bodies, transport providers, local authorities, research centers, IVM has tested technological solutions and experimented with new media to make the city and its networks comprehensible to all. For children and preteens, youth taxis. For the blind and partially sighted, virtual touch-based exploration of urban neighborhoods, embossed and large character maps of public transport networks, tactile directional tables in Paris metro stations. Finding directions, understanding signs and codes, using a GPS, reading a map. Moving around the city requires ever more extensive skills. With its Readable City project, IVM decodes accessibility. Making a city of flows, designing comfortable, attractive, and functional spaces of movement. Mobility is not just a question of transportation. Architects, designers, and landscape architects are all involved in the challenge of mobile cities. What should tomorrow's bus stations, walkways, stations, and car parks be like? The Architecture on the Move Cities and Mobility exhibition has shown the most innovative projects in 25 cities around the world.
sai da onde, olha!
E se ele for americano pobre? Aí não tira também, aí ela...
The street, a place to move around, to live, to work, to show off, to jostle, sometimes to collide. Innumerable activities intersect and overlap, making the street a place of encounter and conflict, bond and barrier, the best and the worst. IVM's exhibition, The Street Belongs to All of Us, shows how in all the cities of the world the same questions arise. Who and what are the streets for? Who do they belong to? Who decides, controls, supervises? How can we reconcile all the speeds, all the forms of transport, the needs of residents and passers-by, of shopkeepers? How can we make them readable, fluid, friendly? The answers are diverse, differing from city to city and country to country, as the exhibition has shown in its worldwide tour. From the start, IVM has sought to be an international crossroads. Its headquarters are in Paris. It has an office in Latin America, in Buenos Aires, and an office in China, in Shanghai. The question of mobility is a core concern for Latin America's fast-changing cities. Inequality in access to urban resources, the need for public transport infrastructure, congestion, pollution. At the same time, they are a seedbed of innovation. The inventions of the BRT, Curitiba's Metrobus, or Medellin's urban metro cable system, are now being transposed to Europe. A university chair and academic interchanges and publication activities across the whole continent. Exhibitions, studies like Mobility in the Favelas of Rio de Janeiro, and concrete projects like the new signage system on the 132 bus route in Buenos Aires. All these activities place IVM Latin America, under its director Andrés Bortacaré, at the heart of new urban lifestyles and emerging solutions. Soon more than 300 million additional city dwellers. Millions of kilometers of streets under construction. Is China inventing the cities of tomorrow? Since 2000, with an office in Shanghai run by Professor Pan Hasio and an academic chair involving China's major universities, IVM has been organizing international conferences, exhibitions, architecture and urban design competitions, as well as workshops with professionals from the big Chinese cities. With the publication in Chinese of the first book on intermodality, the first book on urban access for people with reduced mobility, the creation of the Better Mobility, Better Life Prize for Innovation in Mobility Services for Shanghai's Expo 2010, IVM has become one of the driving forces of debate in China. How can we reconcile our dreams about nature, about space, with our desire to have fast and easy access to the services, jobs, resources and pleasures offered by urban nuclei that are increasingly specialized and spread out? How can we guarantee everyone the right to mobility while tackling the problems of congestion, pollution and energy shortage? The exhibition Dream Cities, Sustainable Cities, staged by the EDF Diversitaire Foundation, gives visitors the keys to an understanding of the challenges of tomorrow's cities.
Moi j'ai un bus qui est à 5h02, et le bus après il est à 5h15, l'autre c'est à 5h32, et après à partir de là on a 48, 50 après.
L'intérêt d'une très grande ville, c'est de donner une offre considérable. Vous avez plus de disponibilité si vous voulez avoir un emploi ou à rencontrer la femme de votre vie. Je ne sais pas, les gens viennent dans les métropoles parce que les chances de la vie sont décuplées par rapport au fait de rester dans un endroit charmant, dans la montagne, qu'ils aiment beaucoup.
Mobility is one of the causes of greenhouse gas emissions. What can cities do to control them? In the US, the preference is to develop clean, green technologies rather than restrict the use of the car. The series of public hearings on climate change, urban mobility, and clean tech brought together American researchers and professionals to face questions by European experts from all disciplines. Better organized cities? More efficient public transport? Less gas-guzzling cars? We also need to invent new services, encourage new uses, and build a public mobility service geared to the different time frames and spaces of the city. IVM organized the International Forum in Rome, Mobilities in the City at Night, drew up the first European review of nighttime services, and joined forces with artists to devise transport systems that reflect the new living patterns of the city and of city dwellers. IVM showed that the taxi, when integrated with the transport system, is a solution for the future. In Lisbon, the Taxi Festival highlighted this missing link between public and individual transport by setting up an international scientific colloquy, the starting point for a network of researchers, exhibiting prototypes, and organizing design and short film competitions.
Wo wollen Sie denn hin?
Kurt Schumacher 29.
With the support of IVM, students describe, imagine, and design solutions for tomorrow. Future architects and urbanists, designers, students of journalism and cinema, young photographers. Their ideas, their discoveries are a source of inspiration for IVM's initiatives. The movement of goods and ideas also plays a major role in urban economies, with mobility sectors developing around delivery services and different kinds of home support. The City at Home project creates a platform of actors to devise new skills and new structures. IVM has a public interest role and a role as a contributor to public debate. For 10 years, it has been bringing together a wide diversity of actors and partners, developing the most effective arrangements for each question. An attentive and engaged observer of social change, of the impact of information and communication technologies on the uses of the city. It is keen to open up its activities even further to new partners, cities, businesses, institutions, to all those who are motivated by the city, by movement, and by innovation.